A lot of people have viewed kind of the iDubbbz documentary on Sam as the resurgence for MDE. And what is your whole view on the iDubbbz and Sam saga? How did you feel about all that?
That was great. iDubbbz is a great guy.
Yeah. In today's video, I sat down with comedian Nick Rochefort from the comedy troupe $1 Million Extreme to talk about their brand new sketch show titled Extreme Peace. Before we hop into the interview with Nick, I'm going to provide a very brief background of MDE for anyone who is not up to speed on who they are. $1 Million Extreme is the comedy troupe featuring Sam Hyde, Nick Rochefort, Charles Carroll, and Eric Hayden. MDE established their roots of sketch comedy on YouTube and quickly developed a cult following for their surreal and absurdist style of humor by making classic sketches like Officer Maggot and Moms. Some people have compared their incredibly obtuse and left-field style of comedy with shows like The Eric Andre Show and The Tim and Eric Show. One of their most viral moments was when Sam Hyde did a fake TEDx talk at Drexel University titled 2070 Paradigm Shift.
"'Cause we're just gonna kill them!"
With MDE's rise in popularity, eventually the boys would get their very own sketch show on Adult Swim titled $1 Million Extreme Presents World Peace. The show received really great ratings, but would be pulled off of Adult Swim after a malnourished BuzzFeed journalist wrote a hit piece about them. Then almost a decade later, $1 Million Extreme would get back together and make Extreme Peace 100% independently, which allowed the boys to give the fans everything that they felt the show deserved. I was curious to ask Nick about the difficulties and obstacles that came with shooting independently versus shooting with a network backing them. When you and the crew shot World Peace under Adult Swim, I imagine it was a lot different from like how it is now where you shoot Extreme Peace independently. What was that switch like for you guys? And was it like easy or was it difficult? How was that for you all?
Just from a production standpoint, like the workload of our stuff, the difference mainly was like from a production standpoint. I mean, we always produced our own videos. If you start there, kind of like conceptualizing like what the workload would be. So it was a little bit more on the line of, you know, my main role is set creation and whatnot. When we had Adult Swim, we had the strongest asset that we had for the first season was a great crew of set creators. They were fresh off of The Walking Dead, so they could really build anything, and that was truly like the biggest muscle on the body of the Adult Swim. That's all they represented as by way of like the production was like, you know, they had a really good set. It was Amy Holmberg and her team, which is awesome. They're really good. So they could build, like, you think of it, they could build it. You snap their fingers and they'll get to it. You know, that was cool. The rest of it, as far as like writer's room and whatnot, pretty, you know, same as usual. Creation of ideas and whatnot, sitting in a room, getting ideas hashed out from Charles, Eric, Sam, myself, you know, hashing them out one by one, just doing that kind of shit. We could have built a little bit more of a grandiose set on the first season because you could kind of see that if you didn't spend the money on the physical set, you'd be paying like fake jobs. We shot it in Rhode Island, in our hometown, in studios that were like makeshift studios that I found that we rented like tunnels in behind like Woonsocket High School.
While Nick said that the set and costume designers were a great asset when working with Adult Swim, there were some additional elements that made the show challenging for them to execute when they were bound to the rules of network television. With like a new team though, there can be some like added stress. Was there any like unneeded stress that you felt was presented when you worked with Adult Swim?
Just kind of like in the end, like before release, cutting the time to 11 minutes and 25 seconds. So you're really like hacking the thing down to like really its core, which could be a benefit, you know, and then you kind of like, so then you can overcorrect and you can go big on sketches. So it's got a strength and weakness to it. Overall, like cutting out, you know, leaving a lot of sketches on the cutting room floor, cutting out major parts where like none of the jokes would register, and like having to sort of conform like everything to an 11.5-minute output is a little daunting. For sketch shows, it's sort of like hard to convey an idea. You can kind of see it sometimes in the writing, you know, sometimes you can't. Some people like writing like that. I like, you know, there is a place for certain short sketches, and you know, you try to write them, but then when you get in the mode, you know, everything turns, you know, I love the idea of a 30-second sketch. The reality of it is just, you know, you really got to write them as 30-second 1-minute sketches, and for whatever reason they just don't ever turn into that, because something happens and it gets funnier, and then it morphs, and then like something's funnier than the original inception of the idea, and then you're like, well, I'm already here, we're already in, so why don't we just morph it into this? And there's no one breathing down our neck or holding, like, there's no like script supervision to be like, no, this is that. So it's like, no, this is better. Let's keep it this way. But having people around you that are used to like that really don't, when you have like a full-on union production company, it's not that they don't give a fuck. It's just that, but it's just a job.
Okay.
Whereas this time we had, if you wanted to be there, it's because you liked the show and you wanted to work on it. And it was like nothing ever gets made in Rhode Island. So like you're actually working on a set. There's cameras, there's lights, there's grip, and there's all that. There's rigging and all that stuff, and transport and food and craft and makeup and costumes and stuff. So it was very DIY, but everybody actually got to like work and touch shit, as opposed to like, you're not a lighting guy, you're over there, you're on set painter, like you're not getting that wage today. So there's a little bit more of that going on. And not to say that there's anything wrong with that. It's just but that is like the truth of kind of how it shit rolls. Oh cool, yeah, just do whatever the fuck you want, dude. Yeah, sorry, I'm driving.
No, I like in between questions we get some road rage from
Yeah,
Nick.
we get some traffic. I got a Dominican guy with his 2 bumpers ripped off his 2-hour-old Kia with a bumper ripped off on both sides. Good, I'll go fuck myself. Yeah, Dominican guys and Altimas just driving 90 up your ass on Route 6 is just the way it goes.
Now, aside from Extreme Peace, there's a lot of additional projects that the MDE guys have been busy with that have been wildly successful over the last several years. Sam and Nick have their podcast called Perfect Guy Life, where they just talk about whatever they feel like. Nick has his show Scuffed Realtor, where he jokingly talks about real estate using real properties listed on the internet. Sam hosts the show Fish Tank Live, which is a reality TV-esque live stream show with a 24/7 broadcast. And also now Sam has the Sam Hyde Show, where he gives his thought on current events. All of these projects have helped financially contribute to MDE, but I was curious as to the specifics of just how much these projects and money from the fans have helped in making Extreme Peace possible. Obviously, you mentioned Robert Rodriguez is helping with a lot of the funding for Extreme Peace. If you had to kind of like fraction it out, like 50-50 or 60-40, you guys have had a lot of success with streaming, podcasting, and like other projects like Fish Tank. How much has that helped to make Extreme Peace happen?
A lot. Like now we're in the middle of, like when we started shooting Extreme Peace, we were like, we had to like bang out the rust a little bit because we weren't camera front. But now that it's been 2.5 years since, we're all like, I'm going to be on camera for 2.5 hours. We're doing podcasts for other people and stuff like that. So there's that like on-screen training that you kind of get, that like media training that we're all kind of going through every day. It helps you in that sense that you're used to sort of like being on camera as much as possible and being funny in front of other people that aren't you. Mm-hmm. Or that aren't your peeps. So like, you go on, Matt and Shane and all these people, and you have to, you have to like sink. It's kind of a sink or swim when you're doing like Legion of Skanks with Lewis and, Dave Smith and Jay and these guys. And you want to make them laugh. You're there to entertain people. So you can't like rest on your laurels, so to speak. You got to kind of be funny in the general scope. You can't just, I can't run fucking, MDE jokes, 10 times out of 10. It's just like, no, you gotta make people laugh here, But it helps. Honestly, it helps. It's hard because you gotta produce a Fish Tank show, which is not an easy show to make, and then you gotta produce I gotta produce Scuffed Realtor, which is a completely different gear. And all these things are sort of different gears. Fish Tank is completely different than Extreme Peace, and is extremely different from PGL and so on. Like I try to keep Scuffed Realtor for real estate, and even though I'm doing stupid voices and shit, they do all kind of correlate towards like the stresses of buying and selling and making a big decision with your biggest investment in cars and shit like that. There's a little bit of stress for like the go-between. You like kind of wear a lot of hats, but in the end of the day, it's be entertaining and be funny and be earnest and give people answers to questions that they want for the streaming stuff, and then for the Fish Tank, be entertaining. And those guys, that's a completely separate thing, but those guys work their ass off.
One of my favorite aspects about World Peace and Extreme Peace is during the comedy sketches, they will sometimes lace in moments from behind the scenes where Nick, Sam, or someone else just rips one of the actors while being completely out of character.
Anybody would.
Hey!
Hey, shut up! Shut the fuck up! You fucking retard! You fucking stupid retard!
These elements of chaos and improv can sometimes create moments of the show that are just as funny as the sketches themselves. I wanted to know if Nick and Sam always have intentions of shitting on the people they cast, or if these moments that make it into the show are just them catching lightning in a bottle. For you guys to find the crew and cast that you collaborate with for Extreme Peace or even World Peace, like some of your actors are essentially signing up to get bullied by you and Sam for like the whole episode. Like what's it like finding people to do that? How do you do that?
Have you ever casted before?
I have not, actually.
Okay, cast one time. People think like acting, I'll act. This is what people think. This is what your average person thinks. Guy, girl, black, white, red, old, young, anything in the world. They think, I audition for a part, I go to Hollywood, I win Oscar. In that order. That's what people think, whether we like to hear it or not. They think like the big break is right around the corner, and 98% of out of LA, out of New York actors and actresses are there, not listening to a word the director is saying, ready to audition for a movie that's going on inside their own fucking stupid head. I don't get it. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, and it happens all the time. And the second I smell it, I kick it in the fucking chin. And it's like a tick. And Sam sees it, and Charles sees it, and I see it, and it's like, holy shit, it's like a girl going on a date with you, and then somewhere along the line, she thinks you're a millionaire, so she's begging for your hand in marriage. And you're like, whoa, baby, chill. I don't know what the fuck you're thinking. We're going out for dinner to see if we like each other. And you're like, I've always loved you. Nathan, I've always loved you. You knew in the beginning about, you know, like, and you're like, what are you talking about? And you're like, Nathan, don't you remember the time we talked about eating seafood together in our beach house? In our beach house that we built together hand in hand. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about right now? And that happens all the fucking time, bro.
Damn.
So people have this like, oh, don't do that. And I'm like, I wouldn't do that if they didn't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, gotcha.
And it's like not listening to the part. You can give them a briefing on it. You can give them a synopsis where I feel like you would get it, or I would get it if you were like, Nick, all right, we're gonna riff on this. You're a lawyer, and you're this kid fell down in a Walmart, and you're the Walmart representative trying to talk down the fact that this kid's head split open because he slipped on a wet floor, and there was no wet floor sign. I'd be like, all right, got it. And I'd be like, well, technically your kid came running around the corner pretty fast, and you know, like you would understand the improvisational side of it. They're like, as a Walmart attorney, I've flown across the states, and I've been before this, I went to Harvard, and I was the top of the class. And they're like, no. That's not what we're talking about. Back. And no matter what you say, it just doesn't stop. Like they do it all the time. And people like think it's like a mean-spirited thing, and it's like, nope, no, this is how things happen. And then you have to think of the type of person that has the time to audition for a film or to procure, you know, to cut out, like, what, you don't have a job, like you don't have a day job. You're a working age person, 30 to 65 years old, and you're not working right now, and on a Tuesday at 9:30 in the morning. Like, no, honestly, and they have a fun time for the most part. They're like, oh, that was fun, that was weird, that was fun. It is kind of fun just to kind of, once they get in, but just so we're all on the same page on how that happens. It's always because the like the slip of the tongue, or the like the loose lips sink ships, I guess. I don't know. It's just like, god damn, man. And it is exactly that thing where they're, that's kind of how that comes about.
It's a good way of like checking them and bringing them back to earth. It's like, nah, dude, this is not, you're not getting a fucking award for this. You're just doing like a sketch show.
Yeah. We told you how the sketch runs, and now you're in left field, and now we're here, and now you deserve. Like, I can't slap you, but I can make fun of you.
It kind of reminds me of like how the mom sketch was. Like when there was that one part where you went off, and I remember seeing it was like Sam or someone else was like tapping you on the shoulder, like, yo, chill.
Yeah. But honestly, not really. She was crying. Like, that was a fake cry. That was her like, I'm going to turn the waterworks on now. Like that was her like, now's my time to try crying. And people will do that all the time. Like they'll go through like their acting exercises, and they'll do what they think they should do as an actor. Like, watch, I can do crying, or watch, I can do tough, and now watch, I can do empathetic, and I can sing, and you're like, yo, shut up. Like, what are you doing?
As someone who watched World Peace after it went off the air, and now Extreme Peace, it's a bit hard to put into words the style of humor that the boys from Rhode Island bring to the table. If I had to use a few words to describe it, I'd say it's a bit abrasive, strange, silly, and transgressive. In case you're looking to watch the show for yourself, this is how Nick described the show in his own words for somebody who has never seen any content from $1 Million Extreme. For somebody who's never seen anything from like the MDE brand or what the content you guys produce, what would you say you should expect from your first episode of Extreme Peace, or just from Extreme Peace in general?
Just freeform, original content from pals, loose ideas from close friends, put together like a bottle rocket strung next to a spiked root beer, next to like a rabbit animal, next like trying to pair fun and exciting things together, and trying to check all the boxes that everybody in the room thinks you'd have to invest a little bit of trust into, but trying to put together a cocktail of things that'll make you laugh in 7 months and in 7 years and in 70 years, hopefully, and just taking a spirit of the times and warping them, and then putting some sort of like long-term crystallized color on it that you won't be able to see anywhere else. So putting some sort of like hue or Pantone on a facet of society that might not be ever spoken upon, or like a subtlety that we can step down on and elaborate on a little bit more than a network would allow because of timing or limitations.
After World Peace was not renewed by Adult Swim, things took a bit of a dark turn for $1 Million Extreme and The Boys. However, over the last few years, Sam Hyde as well as MDE has made a bit of a comeback, and I think a big reason for that is because of the documentary from the YouTuber iDubbbz titled Getting Away With It. Some people viewed the documentary as a hit piece on Sam that backfired and made Sam look good while making iDubbbz look incredibly petty. Nick was one of the people iDubbbz interviewed, so I wanted to know how he felt about the documentary and what the internet viewed as a feud between Sam and iDubbbz.
I know around that time you had just joined the... Oh, shit. A lot of people have viewed kind of the iDubbbz documentary on Sam as the resurgence for MDE, and what is your whole view on the iDubbbz and Sam saga? How did you feel about all that?
It was great. iDubbbz is a great guy.
Yeah?
It was cool. I mean, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I have he came up to my house, and I mean, couldn't ask for a nicer guy. He was nice to me. I got to drive a cool car and have fun with him. And yeah, it's been I mean, you have to have a lot of fun with people. You know what I mean? What else were we gonna do? You know, like people who take themselves like super seriously and that kind of stuff. Jesus Christ, you know, it's like people going on like Matan and like attempting to make a great name for themselves or something, like playing serious with nonsense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah, like he's just doing
like,
improv.
Just so much like nonsense. Yeah. And then people going like, "Oh, yo, you're fucking with me," or like, you know, like people like losing the plot. I think that was sort of like with like what did I don't know what iDubbbz's expectations were, but I mean, it wasn't hard to configure what his motivations were within like 5 seconds, where it was like, I'm gonna take this sardonic turn, you know.
A lot of people had that interpretation, including myself. I think that he did have ulterior motives he didn't make clear, and then obviously, you know, Sam, he knew exactly what was going on. But yeah, no, it's just the way things have happened with him.
No,
but he's just
bigger.
Yeah, dude, it just had to. But it's like all the stuff happening.
He's in love. He's happy.
Yeah, you know, he's got a good woman who loves him.
He's got a good broad and a good home, and he's happy. I mean, I'm sure he's happy in the other day. I mean, I don't know. I hope he is.
I hope so, dude.
He's in good shape, right? He's in better shape than he ever has been, and I don't wish ill regard on anybody. So I hope he's able to, if he is in fact having a rough go at anything, I hope he's able to right the ship.
There was a fun little bonus question that was unrelated to Extreme Peace. I asked Nick about comedian Bill Burr. Bill made a video on All Things Comedy where he jokingly made fun of some real estate properties on Zillow in a very similar way to how Nick does on Scuffed Realtor. A lot of the comments on All Things Comedy are people roasting Bill for stealing Nick's format, and I wanted to know how Nick sincerely felt about the whole situation with Bill Burr.
I saw that clip of you where you're making fun of Bill Burr, and you're like, hey, why don't I just steal your original idea?
Yeah, sure, dude. Whatever. I don't know. I'm ripping this Scuffed Realtor guy off. All right, dude. Here we go. Look at this house, Florida.
A lot of people think Bill actually stole your idea. Do you believe he did, or?
No, I don't think Bill Burr did that. I think a guy at Zillow knows about Scuffed Realtor and then said, this works. It'd be better, but you're funnier than him, so you should do it, and that's it. I think Zillow is a fucking evil company. I think at its core, it's like a blood-sucking, out-of-nowhere company that delivers, like, I think it floods you with information. And when they got caught buying houses and they were really like feeding major real estate, like when they were feeding investment bankers and buying houses, that was like cheating. I didn't like that at all. I think that's a dirty-ass move. So I think just inside Zillow, they can go fuck themselves. But I don't think Bill Burr was like, yeah, sure, fuck this guy. I'm a fucking millionaire comedian, funniest, top of the show, top rank. I don't think that. I was just busting balls, which I'm pretty sure. And I know that Bill's got like he's got the same gay eye that I do probably, or he has a taste for design just as much. I think real estate's one of those things that once you kind of get into it, you know, there's only one way, and it's basically like you're like half of a fucking New York interior designer, like with your tight fucking pants on and kissing your boyfriend on the neck.
Yeah.
And I'm totally self-actualize it.
And last but not least, I wanted to know what MDE's vision was for Extreme Peace and how many more seasons of the show they would film if they had everything their way.
With the current momentum behind Extreme Peace and the tour and like Fish Tank and all the other projects, in a perfect world, how long would you guys keep doing Extreme Peace for? Would you want to end it on your own terms like Seinfeld kind of ended, or would you want to do it like as long as you possibly could and it makes sense?
As long as it makes sense, as long as it's not feeling like a task or as long as it's good and everybody wants to be there and everything's funded and fun. That's kind of the way to do it. I don't ever want to be playing to you don't want to be like in there's a lot of people who are like, just go away. Like you'll say that too, like Foo Fighters, like just go away.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got your 140 million, like just go now. Come back and like later. But yeah, no, I think we got at least a season in the tank, more.
Hell yeah, man.
And yeah, I guess we kind of leave it, a season more in the tank and keep it fun and light, and then like kind of like let's see where like everything takes us. But to try to put like a 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons. I know there's definitely like another season and having fun enough with the project to change it dynamically to make sure that we'd be delivering a product that would be staying same and staying different and always changing it and always kind of like making sure that in the end of the day it's entertaining and fun and light and having fun with it and keeping it like we're comedians. So let's keep it funny and enjoying doing it, because having the ability to make a sketch show with my friends in my hometown is a dream. It's a dream come true. I'm living my, like, I love it, man. Like everybody loves it. Like we're happy. We're having fun. We go out for beers after. Our kids can come around. Like it's cool. You know what I mean? Like Chuck and Eric and I went to kindergarten with Charles. You know what I mean?
That's so cool.
People don't know that, but like, yeah, it's the greatest thing in the world, and we like live close to each other. So to be able to like sort of procure anything and keep people happy and deliver, deliver enough product to put a seat. It's not easy. You know what I mean? It's really like it's a tall order, and keeping everybody like, happy and funded, and I don't want anybody to ever feel gypped by way of anybody that works for us or anything like that. So kind of keeping that shit up. So as long as that stuff goes, I think everybody in the world would be happy to continue doing this. So that's short answer is, one more season. Long answer is who knows, but probably more.
I'll probably do another video in the future where I cover Extreme Peace and my thoughts on the show because I really enjoyed it, but I have a lot of thoughts to give, so I didn't want to put it in this video. To keep it brief though, I loved the show and I thought it was better than World Peace. Seeing Sam, Nick, Chuck, Eric, and Alex all get back together to work on the show just felt surreal. And seeing the closing sketch where they collaborated with All Under Heaven was a spectacular way to conclude the show. It seems like the MDE guys were really able to make the sketches exactly to their liking, given the fact that they didn't have to adhere to the network television time restrictions like Nick talked about earlier. If you're a fan of anything MDE, I firmly believe you'll probably love Extreme Peace as well. The show is available on MDE.TV, and it costs $20 or $30 if you pay for the XL version with all the behind-the-scenes stuff. Big ups to Nick for being so generous with his time and talking with me today so I could make this video for all of your entertainment. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and leave a comment with your thoughts or your best tips on how to build a gorilla nest. That's all I got for you guys today. In the meantime, if you want more content, here's a detailed video about Sam Hyde's 2070 paradigm shift and how he managed to get the opportunity to give this fake satirical TEDx talk. Click the link above to check that out now, or don't, motherfucker, and I'll come to your house and kill you and everyone you've ever fucking loved, you loser piece of shit. Fuck you!